Hello, 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 everyone. Yeah, this is Melody here, your love relationship coach. And usually I'm here with two people, two guests, co-presenters, I would say. And unfortunately, they can't make it. They're both very far away from phones and spaces. Excuse me. So I'm here alone. And so, because I'm here alone, I'm asking you to comment, ask questions, because this is our final show for 2021. Yes, we're in 2021, right? Thank you so much for those that are already joining me. It's great. I look forward to talking to you and, having fun today, which is always great. We have a new channel too on YouTube. Please support me, subscribe, because, we want to make this go all over the place. So today we are talking about toxic phrases and toxic phrases that people say in relationships. Last time we were talking with John and Nelta, we were talking about communication. And this is another way people communicate. Yes, Jayo, thank you so much from Kenya. Today it's not a discussion unless you ask questions and then we will discuss. But we are talking about toxic phrases people in relationships say without realizing it, and how that can really, really be damaging to your relationship. It's some way people think it's a good way to communicate, and it's not. It's not a good way to communicate. So, words are very powerful. Before I start talking about that, let me introduce myself to those people who don't know me. My name is Melody Chadamoyo. I am a relationship love coach. I reside in Dublin, Ireland, and I'm originally from Zimbabwe. I am a very proud dual citizen of Zimbabwe and Ireland, and I'm a citizen of the world. I love everybody. I usually, you see me here with John Gora in Bahrain, who is also from Kenya, and Neuta Chadamoyo, my sister, who is in Dublin with me. And today she's out doing something, and I'm here alone. I hope you are not going to be offended because I'm not here alone. Obviously, the conversation is not going to be as exciting, but hopefully, you're going to get something really useful and useful that and practical that you can use in your relationships from today. So, I'm an author and a speaker, and you can connect with me on my website, Heart Passion Institute. I put the link in the introduction of this show, and or on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Melody Chadamoyo, and Instagram and all that stuff, and Facebook as well, actually. And so, words are powerful. They are very powerful. When you are committed to making sure that your relationship works, you need to be aware of the type of words you're using and how you're using those words, because language can destroy a relationship. What you say can really damage a relationship. And if you want to communicate effectively, effectively meaning you want your love to be experienced through your words by another person, you want to use the words that are useful. So today I want to talk about toxic words, because toxic words are the words that are damaging, right? They don't build, they destroy. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, maybe somebody who uses toxic words with you, please share it with them, and or invite them to come watch with you. And so the first phrase that people are always using is "you never" and "you always," and it's a double whammy. We have five of them, but the first two are "you never" and "you always." And this always puts someone in a defensive, because when you say "you always," it's like you always do this, or you always forget my birthday, or you always. It's like this person is no good in them at all. Like all they always do is mess up and mess up and mess up some more. And we need to remember that nobody's all bad. And if they're that bad, then you shouldn't be with them. It's a lazy way of communicating with each other. And we need to be aware of this. We need to be aware of the words we're using, and we need to be aware of how we're using them. So, this way of communicating creates resentment. It makes people really not listen to what you say, because the moment you say you never or you always forget, or you always give me a hard time, or you always, it's like you don't appreciate any of the other good things that they do. And that's not fair. It's not fair in a relationship to do that. So you need to be aware when you're doing that. It is very important when you're upset to be aware of what you're saying when you're upset. Because if you are like me, I don't like apologizing. So, not because I shouldn't apologize. I don't like apologizing because I always want to be conscious of the things that I say to people. And so when I mess up, I do apologize. I own up. But because I don't like doing it very often, I make sure that I don't need to by taking care of the words that I use. And you're too sensitive. We say it to people. This one is actually a man most of the time thing, whereby you tell him, what he has said is harmful or is hurtful, and he says that you're too sensitive, or you should, yeah, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional. Yeah, you're too emotional. And that is minimizing someone's feelings. And it's just wrong. There's no nice way of saying it. When you say to someone when they're upset, you're too sensitive or you're too emotional, what are you trying to say exactly? And how is that going to help you in your relationship? How is that going to build the connection you want? It is not fair. You could say, another way of saying is, you could say, I can see you're very upset. I can see this is upsetting you. Acknowledge that they're feeling something. Acknowledge that what they're feeling is relevant because they are feeling them. You cannot argue with someone's emotions or feelings because that's what they're feeling. You can't, there's no right or wrong of feeling something. They feel it. Acknowledge that at least they're feeling it. And then try to address what's going on with those emotions. The third one is not saying anything. Silent treatments are really, really dangerous. Ladies, we do that a lot. We can be, when we're upset, we say, and then he says, "What's wrong, babe? What's wrong?" And you say nothing. And then you keep, he can tell something is wrong because everything, your body language is saying something is really wrong. So communicate, because what silent treatment is as dangerous as using words that are dangerous, that are toxic. And this behavior can leave another person feeling abandoned if you just walk out the room, or you don't want to talk about the problem at all, and you just insist that it's never going to be discussed. And the other very dangerous outcome of this is, then when you don't discuss this issue, most of the time there is resentment. It's like you're pushing a pile of rubbish under the carpet. One day you have a big mountain, and that big mountain will be very difficult to tackle. So talking about things is a mature, grown-up way of handling things that come up. And having a conversation is a sign of maturity. If you are not yet ready, yeah, it's okay. Don't talk about it. But you need to make time to talk about things. At least, have the passion to teach other people how you feel most difficult and how you find life at the time that, people just don't want to be ignored. And it's called gaslighting, I think, these days. Don't do that to other people because they will resent you and you won't like that. And it will definitely cause a lot of harm in your relationship. And in in my coaches, in my program, that's what I teach people. I also help people to know how to have a conversation that is important and relevant without the angst of the negative emotions and heightened defenses that can happen sometimes. And that's the awareness of what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and how to be heard, even if it's a very difficult conversation, like, I don't know, I don't want what you did to me, or something like that, or I don't like the present that you got me, it's Christmas. Ooh, yeah, it can be very, very difficult. But we walk through these conversations, and I help people to have these conversations harmoniously, so that everybody comes out of that conversation feeling heard, feeling satisfied about the outcome, whether it's a let's part ways, or let's build up what we have. Number 4 is I am done, or I want a divorce, and as a way to shock someone into compliance. Ladies, again, I did this. I one time, one of my friends told me that I should tell my boyfriend that I wanted to break up with him, as a way of getting a reaction out of him. And I did. I went and I said, I want to break up. And he was very upset, as you can imagine, because he didn't do anything at the time, actually. But even when a person has done something, things like I want a divorce, or I am done, or I don't want you in my life anymore, or I don't love you anymore, are things that you say, or words that you say only once in your life. And you shouldn't use them as a way to get compliance. You shouldn't use them as a way to shock somebody into doing what you want. You shouldn't use them at all. Because if you continue using such words, like the child who keeps crying wolf, right? At some point, that person won't take you seriously, and they won't believe you, because such words need you to follow up with action. So I want to say, ladies, if you are having a fight with your man and you run away to your sister or your mother or somebody, first time, and he follows you and he begs you and you come back home, you can't use that mechanism anymore, because now next time he won't take you seriously. So you need to really think and be strategic about what happens when things are difficult in your relationship. How do you tackle that? If you don't mean it, don't say it. If you feel extremely upset or extremely angry, walk away. Ask for a timeout. There's a film called How I Met Your Mother, where I saw this method that I really love, where a couple is fighting and they're fighting, and then their friends come over and they say, time out on our fight. We'll continue with it when other people are not here anymore. And I would encourage people to take that on and just say a timeout. If you are having a fight and you don't want to say horrible words, and you just before you say it, just say timeout. I need to go and think about this, and walk away. Nobody is going to resent you for that. It will be good for your relationship. It will actually amaze you how it will transform your relationship if then you calmly can sit down and say what's not working, discuss it, say it in as clear a way as possible, because saying extreme things can damage trust in a relationship. Now when you have calmed down and you come and you say, you know what, I'm not happy, I feel unseen, I feel abandoned most of the time, I feel like you don't care, I want more. Those are very hard conversations to have. I need this relationship to change, right? And then you start working on what needs to change and how it needs to change. And when you say, I want more, define the more. I want more cuddles. I want more time together. I want to be my ideas to be valued more. Whatever it is that you need, talk about it calmly, without saying "Blah, blah, blah, blah," because that does not serve you. So whenever you're opening your mouth, think about what outcome do you want out of that conversation, out of that statement that you're going to say. Because if you're just saying words for the sake of saying words, they might not serve you. You might not get the outcome that you want. So, and sometimes, we want to be right, right? You are so stupid. Yeah, but what do you get out of that? Nothing. So think about it. Think about what you're saying, and don't say what you don't mean. And even if you don't mean it, even if you mean it, if it's going to cut someone's soul, don't say it. It's just, don't say it. Number 4, you're doing it wrong. Why can't you just do it my way? So I know so many people. I used to have a friend. Actually, I still have a friend. We just don't live in the same country anymore. She told me that her boyfriend used to chop onions wrong, and she would criticize him and tell him how to do it. And I'm like, why is it such a big deal how he cuts onions? That's how he does it. You can do it your way, and I'm sure he doesn't interfere. So it can be frustrating to see someone doing something differently than you do. It can be something small, like loading the dishwasher or chopping onion or packing a shopping bag, right? It can be that, something that small. You shouldn't take it personally. It's not a personal attack on you. It's not even a personal attack on how you do things. So when people handle things the way they handle, it could even be something major, like maybe how they're handling their boss bullying them, or maybe how they're handling their parent doing something they don't like, and they come to you and they complain to you. So I learned a very big lesson with this one. My husband used to come and complain about his parents to me, and I used to think that I needed to tell him how he should deal with his parents. So I'd say, you should stop talking to them, or you should do this, or you should do that. Whatever it is that I asked him to do caused us to have a problem, and him to fix the issues with his parents, or pretend to fix the issues with his parents. So another way of looking at it is, like, you can say, I can see this is stressing you out. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm here for you. I love you. We can go through this together. I'm just not going to solve this problem for you. That's you in your head. You don't have to say that. But you can just be there for them and let them handle the problem. Don't say, you should do this. Or you can even say, if you have a good idea, I might have a good idea about this. Are you willing to listen? And if they are willing to listen, then you tell them. If they are not, then you don't. But you don't take it personally. You don't take it like, they should do it your way. Otherwise, their life is going to suck. Because if you do that, it's going to make your life really difficult. Number 5, you will get over it. Or it's no big deal. People say this to try to help. And sometimes they say it so that their partner sees that, this is going to be sorted somehow. It's not as earth-shattering as you see. But when you say it like that, you are invalidating someone's emotions in a painful situation. And that's not fair. It is telling them to get over it will make them feel silly for telling you, because, when I come to you and I say, this hurts me, all you can do is say, how can I help if you can help? Or just hold them. Or you can say, I'm sorry. I learned something really important when I was grieving for my husband. I had this friend that I met during that time, soon after my husband passed away. And one of the best gifts she ever gave me was, she didn't pry. She didn't ask me to be someone else. She didn't even ask me, if I wanted to talk about him, we talked about him. If I didn't, we didn't. If I wanted to do something, I wanted to do something. Oh, Michael says, I always speak my mind regardless of situation. Is it wrong? Well, speaking your mind and telling people to do what you want are two different things. And speaking your mind as well. I'm one of those people who speak their minds. You need to be aware of your intention in speaking your mind. Are you trying to control the other person in the situation, or are you trying to be heard? because those two things are different. If you're just trying to be right, then maybe speaking your mind is not the right thing to do. I know it's a difficult one, but because I've been learning a lot that sometimes I don't need to speak, especially because I've children and I've raised children. They're now adults, and and I noticed that there are times when I want to jump in and do the rescue mommy situation, especially if they are having a problem with somebody outside, like somebody is an authority figure, a teacher, a college professor, or an employer, right? I want to jump in, but I can't. So I have to say, oh, I can see that this is really difficult for you. Is there something I can do to help you? And sometimes I mess it up and I say, why don't you go and do this and this and this and this? But that's not the right thing to do either. I have to give them the space to explore how they want to solve the problem. Because once they have explored how to solve the problem and they actually solve the problem, you know what happens? They now have the skill to do it for themselves. They don't need their mother to go and fight their battles for them. It's one of the most difficult things to do as a parent, but it's also one of the most valuable gifts you can give your child, you can give anybody, to let them solve their own problem, to allow them to handle whatever issues they're having, emotions. And all you have to do as a friend, as a spouse, is to cheer them on and say, I'm here. If you need somebody to bounce ideas with, I'm here. And then, you sort it out like that. So that's how I would answer that one. So saying, how can I help? That sounds tough. We can get through this is the supporting part. Saying, go do this, they are not you. And being able to do it the way you do it, they might not be able to, broach the subject. They might not be able to say it the way you want. Because, sometimes when somebody tells you to do something, and then you go, and the moment you open your mouth, that person shuts you down. Because they are not you, they don't know how to navigate that space. So give people the opportunity to discover what they can do on their own, to explore what they can do on their own, and also to understand that when people mess up, they mess up. It's not the end of the world. They can clean it up, and we can forgive them, and they can forgive themselves. And so those are the 5 points that we get. Don't tell someone to get over it, because you're invalidating their emotions. Don't tell someone that you're doing it wrong because you wanted them to do it your way. I once stopped my husband from cooking because I used to say he was doing it too slow, because I'm fast. I was trained to be fast by my mother, and he was doing it too slow. And then you see someone slight dimming because you want things to be done your way, which is not great. Allow people to explore and discover who they are. That's being a supporting spouse, a supporting parent, a supporting colleague, a supporting friend. And so that's number 4. You're doing it wrong. Don't say that. Number 3 is, excuse me, I'm looking at my notes, not saying anything, it's not great at all. And number 2, what did we say? Number 2, you're too sensitive or you're too emotional. Don't dismiss other people's emotions. Whatever they feel, they feel. And number 1, which we started with, is you never or you always. Let's not do that to each other. Let's give, when a person does right, sometimes you need to appreciate that they do right. If they mess up, remember one very important thing. We are all human. We all mess up. Don't say you're always messing up all the time, because they don't mess up all the time. Nobody does. And nobody's doing wrong all the time. And if they're doing wrong all the time and you are still with them, they are not the problem. You are. So today is our final show of 2021. And unfortunately, I was alone. I might get Nelta to come back and do another session with me, probably 2 weeks from now. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. And because I don't like to end things like this, I like to give as much as I can. And if you feel like you're ready, you want to start 2022 with a relationship that's working, relationship that is amazing, that is fulfilling, that's joyful, and learn how to negotiate some of these life's tough experiences, how to go through some of the life's tough issues. You know, book a love breakthrough session, and I'll give you a pamphlet of how you can start to do that for free, and then you can start enjoying your life and fully. Thank you so much for being with us, with John, Nelta, and myself. I'm sure they are all very grateful for being with us. Michael, and thanks, Michael. Merry Christmas to you too in advance. Has been a pleasure learning from you. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate Jalio and everybody who has been watching. And thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your time and your encouragement. And I will continue to do this. We'll be back again probably in January. We might do a special, like a Christmas special. I think we should. You can say to John, Christmas special hashtag in the group, and we will do a Christmas special. Just get together and have some fun and talk about things that we should be talking about, our relationships, our lives, and how to make them better, because we only live once, right? We have to make the best of it. And Merry Christmas to everybody if I don't see you, but we will do a Christmas special. I promise you that. I don't know when yet, but I will post it. I will make sure Nelta and John will be there, and we can have a laugh, and maybe you might learn something. I might learn something new. Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good evening, a good morning, good night, wherever you are in this world that we were given. Bye.